What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of the Layup Line. I'm not going to waste much time on an intro, but I just wanted to say follow me on most social media so you can interact with me there as well. And also make sure you subscribe to get notified about new videos. Both all that out the way, let's get right into it and talk about the Wizards.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
They said I gotta come off the bench.
Sensations, thinking they know the game of basketball, they would then have to admit that they don't know basketball.
So the Washington Wizards have had the worst season in the entire league, in my opinion. They lost a disappointing and frustrating game to the San Antonio Spurs Sunday last night. And if you haven't been paying attention, you may not have noticed that this was the team's first game in nearly 2 weeks. And that's because they've had 6 of their players contract coronavirus. As a result, they obviously have not been playing games, and contending teams are like sharks in the water, waiting for the day that Bradley Beal might become available for trade. Now, the main reason I'm making this video is because coming into the season, I was much higher on the Wizards than the consensus. I was predicting that they would be a bottom tier playoff team or one of the play-in teams at worst. And clearly, it doesn't look like that prediction is going to be coming true. So I wanted to take a look at exactly what's going wrong with them. You can't really blame Bradley Beal, who's been doing everything in his power to drag that team to wins, averaging nearly 35 points per game on good efficiency. But this brings me to the obvious elephant in the room, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a pretty polarizing player in NBA fan circles, and he is one of my personal all-time favorites despite the flaws. However, this year, he's having a career low shooting in the field, and he's still taking too many jumpers. He's averaging 5 of the Wizards' 14 turnovers per game. The Wizards' problem hasn't solely just been Westbrook. Their defense is full of holes, and the roster does lack depth. But I want to get into a lot of the nuance of why the Wizards are so bad. If you look at the first 5 games of the season for the Wizards, I think it illustrates some of their issues really well, because for most of these games, they were able to be competitive and had chances to win, but ultimately dropped all 5. They had poor rotation management from head coach Scott Brooks, and their 3-guard lineup was getting killed defensively. They were forced to stick with it though, because their 2019 lottery pick Rui Hachimura had missed the first 4 games of the season. The Wizards were also just shooting below average from 3, and even with that poor shooting, they still had an offensive rating of 109. And this was coming despite them taking the 9th most free throws at 26 a game, with the 24th worst percentage at 74. The team's 3-point sharpshooter Davis Bertans also started the season cold, making just 10 of his first 35 attempts from deep. This is the same guy that's nicknamed the Latvian Laser because he's one of the league's best shooters. He made 40% on 9 threes a game last year and averages 40% on his career from deep. So this stretch had to just be an outlier. The Wizards went on to a 3-3 record in their next 6 games with notable wins against good teams like the Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix Suns. But this is also around the time that misfortune strikes for the Wizards because they have an outbreak on the team. They also lose starting center Thomas Bryant to an ACL injury that sidelined him for the entire season in a game that honestly should have been postponed because of how few players were available. And in my opinion, the league is kind of responsible for the Wizards now missing Bryant, who was having a career year while being the 2nd best offensive player for the Wizards to that point. Obviously, a sudden 2-week break for the Wizards will interrupt any rhythm that they were building, and with Bryant being injured, even when they were allowed to practice, they were short on big men for practice squads. We heard of Scott Brooks was playing Bradley Beal at the 4 in order to get full teams to practice with. So the tagline for the Wizards season should really just be not ideal. From a blockbuster trade that landed them a star that's currently underperforming, the slow starts and injuries for key players, as well as leading up to a massive outbreak on the team that forces them to postpone all games in a 2-week span, an out-of-touch head coach who continues to run his team in rotations on autopilot, and a shallow team with little guard and wing depth. They did recently acquire Alex Len and Jordan Bell to help them out in the front court, and I guess we'll see how those new additions go in the coming weeks. However, all eyes will be on Bradley Beal because next season will be the last year of his contract before he needs to decide on his player option with the team, and that'll only ramp up trade interest in him more. Before I end this video, I did want to push back against a lot of the hate that Westbrook has gotten over this stretch, because he was awarded All-NBA just last season for putting up career-high scoring efficiency in the paint, and that was on a 4th seed in the Western Conference, because the spacing that Houston provided by trading their center already existed in Washington theoretically, because their starting center already has that shooting ability. Paired with the Latvian laser Davis Bertans and the extremely efficient three-point shooting Bradley Beal, I don't blame the Wizards for thinking that Westbrook could get back to that kind of play. And while it's fair to criticize the shot selection, the turnovers, the poor efficiency that Russ has had over his 8 games in DC, I think some fans aren't giving him the grace and understanding of being a player that's coming off a quad injury and COVID-19 in what was the shortest offseason in league history. And let's be clear here as well, because we still don't know the long-term effects of how this respiratory virus can impact regular people, let alone elite athletes. So while some star players have looked better coming back from the virus than others, this very much still is a case-by-case basis. It's also clear he's having some lingering health issues, and I really hope to see his production shoot back up as he gets to 100%, because Russ really is one of my all-time favorites to watch and was a big part of what got me into this league. But that's the end of this video. Leave a like if you learned something new or if you like what I do. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about the Wizards. I'm also going to link my social media down below for anyone that wants to add me there. But if you're new to this channel and you love the NBA, this is the place for you. So hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot and it takes a second. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.